hello, and welcome back. Here are your two hosts with no rust at all or no baby spit up on any of their clothing. This is the Low Five Podcast. My name is Luke.
Yo, what up, Luke? Good to be back. Did I ever take a break though, man? I don't know. People
Did
heard me
you?
last. People
They
heard me
did.
last month.
Yeah, it was Al did a live pod that was totally recorded the day of and posted. Yes. Yeah. How you doing, big dog? How you holding up?
Man, I'm good, dude. I'm good. I'm happy to be doing this. Like you said, let's see how we look, what kind of form we're in, man. It took a little break here, so I could be on paternity leave. I said
Yeah, I
that
was about to
like I
say.
have a dog.
Yeah, your paternity leave. If people start taking paternity leaves, I'll quit society. But
Dog,
continue.
that's a real thing. People should get paternity leaves, man. I love that shit. You should. Like dogs need that, and cats too. Whatever. People need that. We need to be better to our
Sure.
people.
I mean that's true. But would you like
but
to explain why you've been less gamified to
yes,
those who don't
dude.
follow you on the socials?
We welcomed our son Elton into the world.
Alex and I, we're brothers. We did not welcome his child together. It
Oh,
was him and his wife. For
Indeed.
clarification, so yeah.
Well, you sent some like welcoming texts and
Oh,
messages. I'm sure.
I welcome him as well. But just to clarify,
Yes, Luke and I are not lovers. We are brothers. His children are his own. I am their uncle.
Right?
And
Correct.
I have now given him a nephew amongst the other titles that Elton carries.
So hell yeah, dude. So,
but yeah, he
it's
came
been
early,
fun.
man. He came
He
early.
did.
He kind of threw my plans around. I guess that's a thing in the family. Of course, you have twins, so that's a little bit more expected. Elton was to term, so like he didn't come too early or anything. He wasn't technically a preemie baby, but he did come 20 days early. So he kind of rocked our world. Some of the things I had set up to, for example, finishing this game.
Or the
Didn't quite
original
happen.
podcast date of it. But
Right.
that's chill.
But
We're still
this
happy
is
to be here.
Low Five Gaming is a book club style podcast where we, we dive into a game. And I'm just going to be honest with you. Sometimes you pick up a book and you do not finish it.
Even though the book was kind of lit, that's just not the point.
And sometimes when you gather, you pretend you finish the book and you see how far the other person got and let them carry the load. And I was curious today if that was going to be the case, if you would have rolled the credits on this one, then I had to pretend I got further than I did. What's that Castlevania game that we played? And about 3/4 of the way through the pod, I found out you're halfway through.
Yeah, to be fair, I thought I was like 4/5 of the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just had an
talk
experience with
about
this one, man. I was kind of looking at Bloodstain. That's right. Great game.
So this is both are great games. We joke that we have our podcast homework because there's so many games and we have split attentions to many things in life, and sometimes other games get in the way. And then sometimes, you have babies sooner than you thought you would. And the homework becomes staying alive and making money for little baby to survive. So you still did all your homework. It just changed a little bit. But hey, we're here for Sea of Stars, which is the second game from Sabotage Studios. Sabotage Studios, aka Indie Darling, kind of a little template that I love as far as they came out previously with The Messenger, which you have talked about in previous podcasts and I've played a little bit of. It is a Ninja Gaiden love letter, I think is probably the quickest way to explain what it is, but it's kind of like that new era of polished throwback games, and it's really cool, has super crunchy music, really fun art. And then this is they basically made a lot of money on that game, and it appears as if they poured that money into Sea of Stars, which is another love letter to games past, another one of these high-end retro style games, but this time it is a love letter to JRPGs.
Yes, sir. And just to hark back to last month's episode, my solo debut. I'm talking about collection stuff, man.
Sure.
The Messenger, the physical version of the Messenger, they put it out on a special reserve games, I want to say. So it's like a limited run. There's limited run game. It doesn't matter. Just point is they had a small run of the physical carts. That physical cart for Switch, dude, goes for like $250.
Wow.
Wild. Yeah, dude, wild. I mean, like I have it digitally. I'm not gonna buy it for that amount of coin. But for those that are interested in collecting, keep your eyes out on Sea of Stars, because that is also getting put out via Special Reserve Games. They're they're not sponsoring us or anything, but for those collecting heads that love this
Yeah.
game or like really curious about this game, snag that shit up, man. It's gonna drop for Switch and probably some other platforms, but I know for sure the Switch card is coming early 2024.
And a part of the reason that I wanted to even play the messengers because I was enjoying Sea of Stars so much. I had heard you talk about it and I just had never gotten around to picking it up. But when Sea of Stars was released, the messenger was put on sale for I want to say like $5, which was an
Smart.
absolute steal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very cool. One of the reasons why this game, it was on Game Pass and it looked really cool.
Yeah,
And
day one.
I picked it up just before Starfield came out, and I was playing on it, and I was like, this is really fun. And then even when I picked up Starfield for a while, I couldn't even get into it. So that's when we were deciding what the next pod was be. I was like barely getting into Starfield, and then one of the reasons I couldn't get into it is because I was grinding on Sea of Stars so hard. So I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I love this retro. I love just the whole era that we're in of studios just like looking forward or looking backwards, but with modern tools and just like
Right.
kind of recreating these original games. I won't get too deep into the story because it's mostly JRPG nonsense.
It's fun
It's
though,
a
man.
it,
I've heard a few people on the internet not be too soaked about the story, but I'm like, what the fuck do you expect?
dude. It's yeah, it's like cute and it's like what I would kind of more or less expect from like a JRPG. You know, you have like your chosen ones. You're like these
Mm-hmm.
twins that are like born of the sun and the moon or some nonsense like that. And like you're these special prodigy in this training. So you got your grumpy OG who's like, the rules you're following, and you have to
Yeah.
defeat some soul reapers or something on a solstice. You know, like if you're confused already, that's the point. Like it's just kind of like
Yeah,
you're just like,
Solstice
uh-huh.
Warriors.
There we go. You're just like,
I think
uh-huh, got it.
I think like the most fair critique I've heard of the story is just that it leans too hard into like the stories of its inspirations, so like Chrono Trigger and stuff like that. Like I think it mirrors it pretty closely. To my understanding, Chrono Trigger is one of my gaming sins, man. I've never touched that game.
Never played it. It's
So
was that a Super Nintendo game?
yes, sir. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of
So
it's a beloved Super Nintendo JRPG.
NESs were still around when I was a kid, like, you know, an aunt would have them or
Mhm.
a friend might, but quite literally I've seen like one SNES in the wild and it's like as an adult.
I picked
So
one up.
I don't feel any guilt. You have one or you have like the retro
I bought
mini
one. No, I've got both of those, both of those things.
fucking loser.
But I needed. I don't have a strong cart collection for the Super Nintendo. But we were Sega boys growing up. We were
Yeah.
gifted a Sega from a neighbor, so that was a platform we got to play mostly. Like you said, Super Nintendo was majority of that was done at either family or friends' houses. But it was just like I don't know, man. Like it was just like I had. I just needed it for the collection, so I threw it in there.
I was
So
like,
I've
I
got
have a
a.
sickness.
It's kind of.
Eat more cowbell.
It's an amazing system, dude, and it's sexy too. Like I think it looks good, dude. Like
Yeah,
it's a
it's
good
very
like.
cool.
Mhm.
But I just, I don't run into them. So the Chrono Trigger, yes, I heard that there's a huge inspiration from that. For me,
Yeah,
what hits closer to home is more of how it tickles the childhood of Pokemon. Like, and Pokemon's just a JRPG. You're running into enemies, you're building up your stats. It doesn't have that same level of obviously collection and customability, but it's still cool in the stat bases. One game it reminds me of heavily that I absolutely adore is Paper Mario,
mm-hmm.
specifically the Thousand Year Door, which is getting a remake, and I'm getting pretty ignorant about. That'll be pretty sick. But we can get into that in a little bit. That's kind of why I chose it, as far as it throws back to a lot of games that I like. I haven't played a JRPG in a really long time. I would say it's not necessarily my niche, but that doesn't mean that I don't occasionally like to swim in those waters. So
Yeah,
for
I'm about the same way, man. I think
yeah,
that like I respect them, but it really takes like it's been a long. I used to be more willing to dive into those worlds. I want to say, like
yeah,
back in the back in the day. But when you get a good one, I put like about 20 hours into Pokemon Red, Fire Red, a couple
sure.
months back. And that's just the thing with like RPGs, JRPGs in general. Like once they got their hooks in you, like it can be a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
And for me, it's like they fall into that comfort food category. That's kind of where the Pokemon comes in of just like you kind of know what you're doing. You don't get lost. And this game, although bigger in scope, I think than I originally, I still want to say it's like a 25 to 40-ish hour game. I'm sure if you're super focused, you could get it done under 30, but it seems like it's a 30 to 40-hour game.
I'm pretty sure that How
Um,
Long to Beat says it's 25-ish hours to beat, which means it's probably more like 35 for me.
Same, because I checked and you were at like 20 and I was at like 16 to 18, and I was like I looked at a
Hmm.
guide too, and I was a little over halfway there, so it kind of makes sense. But it is, I guess the word I would use is it's more compact, which I thought was really cool, and that definitely went into my decision. It seemed like a streamlined process of, so it's a love letter, but that doesn't mean that it didn't take any of what no longer works in those types of things. It definitely
Right.
trimmed some of that. So before we move on, I just want to talk about some of my all-time JRPGs. I mentioned Pokemon and Paper Mario, but before we move on, I do got to mention Final Fantasy X. And once
Hmm.
again, remind the audience that you're a butthole and you wouldn't let me use the guide or help me with Final Fantasy X because you were jealous that I was going to beat it before you.
Don't
So
pretend like you could read that anyways, bro.
that's why I needed your help, you butthole.
It's like not only do you want the guide, you want me to read the guide to you? Come on
Just
now.
being an older brother, it would have been cool. That's all.
I was trying to beat that game before you. I couldn't have my little brother coming in, swooping me with all that extra
Uh,
time.
it's so stupid is what I remember most is that I couldn't handle like the chocobo nonsense. Therefore, I couldn't get like some super sword for Titus. And then no one needs to hear this, but if you played that game, you might remember some of that. It's kind of funny. But
That's
yeah,
bringing back memories. That
I
sword was
like
dope. I had that
I
sword.
fuck off. I beat it eventually when I could read.
That game's all about the blitzball, anyways, bro.
Dude, we'll get into all time or now we won't rank them, but this game has a pretty cool JRPG side game as well.
Hmm.
But I like turn-based stuff, dude. I think
Yeah,
turn-based stuff is unnecessarily reviled. I understand why games like Final Fantasy have kind of evolved and kind of gone away from it. I understand how people critique turn-based stuff, but especially as a dad, dude, turn-based stuff is sick. I'm gonna need to set down this controller. I'm gonna need to pause. Like this current gen, the one of the coolest things about it is just the save state stuff and how you can just like rest your system and pick it up in the middle of whatever you were doing.
right.
So that combined with like just loving me a turn-based game made this a pretty cool deal to pick as a game. And then I know I had a nice moment where Al was hyping this game up in the Discord and I might have forgotten about that. So then I played this game for like a day and I was like, Alex, have you heard about Sea of Stars, dude? It's so cool. And then you definitely didn't scold me. So what draw your eye to this game before it was selected for the pod?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you mentioned earlier the Sabotage games. So, like, I had my eye on it when it got announced that they were dropping this. I was all over it, dude. I love the Messenger, so I was excited to see that they're doing something new, and I also love the idea of kind of the harking back to pulling from the RPGs of old to and bringing it to a new audience and adding some of that new quality of life flavor. Is it just like was I was ready for it,
Yeah.
it's kind of like you said, man, we don't play JRPGs all the time, and it's one of those things where it's like I was primed for it. I knew that I would probably like it because of the studio, and the art. I think I might have saw, who knows if it was a direct or something, but I saw, yeah, it was probably a direct. They were showing some of the gameplay and artwork, and it's just a beautiful game, man. Like it's got
Yeah.
that retro bit like thing going on, and it really checks a lot of the boxes for like a game that's going to get your boy Alex excited.
Well, that'll transition us nicely to what we like about the game. The first thing I jotted down was just the art. Both the character sprites and the background and environments are super cool.
Hmm.
I'm not the greatest at explaining these things, but it's definitely like a high end, polished version of what you would have expected, even like from the GameCube with Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. It's like it's very specific art style, harkening back to that SNES era, kind of that Chrono Trigger. Even though I haven't played, like those character sprites look a lot like what I've seen from Chrono Trigger. Does that feel pretty on base?
Yeah, and I think it like also gives like Chrono Trigger, your Final Fan, like early Final Fantasies,
Yeah.
or like mid. I don't know, man. Final Fantasy got so many games out there, so it's hard to
You,
hit the time period. So like be
the
the like Super
non-modern,
Nintendo era
yeah,
of Final Fantasy.
sure. Kind of the pre Final Fantasy X, I want to say.
Correct.
And then the art, even like the character designs, like your enemy designs, like when I was playing today as a little refresher, I really love the enemy variety too. Like the enemy variety and
It's
their
good.
move sets and the way that their moves are animated, like all of that is really diverse throughout these different levels. And it's really cool. And I was like, it was kind of late September, mid late September, getting into October when I was playing the heaviest. And I went through like that haunted like house vibe place,
Oh
dude,
yeah,
with the
yeah.
spirits. And like the vibes there were super cool. Like I really loved that thematic level. It
It's a
was a
vibe
ton of
game all
fun.
around, I would say.
Yeah.
It's extremely linear, which I think is another thing that excited me about it. Like
Yes.
I love
In this
me.
stage of life,
Yeah.
that's comforting, dude.
I mean, I love me an open world game and an open world RPG or whatever, but like there was something refreshing about being able to just go figure out like the maze of the path. So the way that it's linear, but this game also encourages you to poke around a lot
Yeah.
where you are, because there's these, without getting too far into the weeds, there's like these rainbow conch shells that you pick up.
Fuck those.
Dude, they're yeah, no, for sure, I feel
They
that, but at the
encourage
same time,
backtracking, but it's like aggressive.
yeah, so like I don't think I've hit that like mean backtracking part that like you spoken of, and I've definitely heard that to be a pain point for folks. But it's also weird because I took a big break, because my son was born, so I wasn't like playing all the time. So I almost had this like rest. So I feel like I don't know, I'm just not gonna have that same experience because I set it down for my own reasons, whereas like I haven't hit that burnout that I think a lot of people are hitting because of this. But yes, so I have 100% heard and hear all the folks saying that the those shells are a pain in the ass. At the same time, dude, like with my little collector brain, like, dude, I
Yeah,
like
dude.
if
It's
I
hard.
see something in the corner, I'm like, oh, that's probably one of those deals. I got to go figure out how to get it, and then I'll you spend the next like 15 and 20 minutes poking around town, so figuring out what angle to like jump down to whatever level that thing's at, and then
Dude,
in
no
the end,
doubt.
you get one of those damn shells, dude. And just to further go in on those shells, it's
Yeah,
like
girl.
did you do the one where you give the kid who's fishing in, like you get him
No,
like
and I missed out on it too. I went through it
oh
after you talked about it.
yeah,
Good fishing mechanic, by the way. Love
yep,
me as this pod loyalists will know. I'm a big fan of a good
it's good.
fishing mechanic, and every JRPG needs one. I understand that. So
It took me a
they
minute to
put some
figure it
decent,
out,
yes,
but
but they took some
but
decent
once I
thought.
did,
It's fresh. It's kind
yeah,
of
it's
cool.
cool, it's cool. There's like
It's
this
no
like
Red Dead 2, but it's pretty cool.
no, there's like this sparkly like stream or whatever, and you got to like pull your rod to keep the fish in the stream, and then it pulls up.
Yes.
It's pretty dope. And it's like oddly addicting, and there's not really much of a reason to do it otherwise, other than like filleting the fish, and then you can use them for recipes, I assume.
Yeah.
But there's
Kind
this
of how the
if you
game is
go,
in general.
yeah,
Like, do you want to do that? No, that's okay.
right. But if you go swimming up the docks in whatever that town is, I can't remember the name of the town right now.
It's
But if
not
you
this
go,
type of podcast. It's all good.
you go swimming deep enough off there, you run into this boat where this kid and his dad are fishing, and like you talk to the kid, and he's all pissed off because he doesn't like fishing, and he's like, "Oh man, my dad won't like let us be done until we catch 30 fish." So if you have fish fillets, you can like give them your fillets, and you got to get 30, which is no small amount. So I had to do like two
Ton.
runs to give him all the fillets he needs, and then he ends up giving you one of these rainbow conches, which I'm like, what? Because I'm like I'm aware because of the internet that they have purpose later, but
Yeah,
where
there's
I
like a
am right
special
now,
ending. Yeah.
right, they don't have purpose. So so it's like really like one of those things where you like put in time, figure these things out, and you're like, I hope to God there's a payoff on these things. And it sounds like there is, but it also sounds like I don't know. We'll see how good I've been about collecting them all.
The game also does have like special weapons and things like that
Mm-hmm.
that upgrade your stats. So I'm always like, ooh, if I grind on this, I'll get like a cool new sword. And then it's like Rainbow Punch. And I'm like,
Yep.
damn it. But yeah,
Dude, I want to give a quick nod to just the love. Like I've mentioned that I've definitely heard some gripes about this game on the internets, but overall, and especially in the media that I get fed, because I get fed a bunch of video game stuff.
sure.
But I've seen a bunch of positive stuff around this game and how inviting it is. Like one article that kind of I like saw the other day that really stuck out was this dude. He was writing about how this game, Sea of Stars, opened up the door for his daughter to start playing video games and JRPGs or whatever.
Oh,
Because it
really?
is because of those things we've been talking about, because of the art style, because like the characters like that are in it are really fun and approachable. We haven't even really talked about their personalities yet, but I think they've got really fun personalities. It's just like a really inviting game. And I think overall, like I've seen a lot of discourse around this game just being a super inviting game for folks. I've seen like a lot of people in my like Instagram circles or whatever a lot of cozy gamers playing this game. Like
Mm.
it hits the gamut. I think the gamer gamers, the people that are like looking for your Chrono Trigger or something like that, is like they feel a little bit let down that it maybe didn't hit that crunchiness that they were hoping for. But go pay Live Alive or something. I don't know.
Sure. And I'd say too that like we've mentioned the general vibes and the coziness. The music is a big part of that. Music's super cool, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's all original composition and it's just really well done. And I want to say that the Messenger, it's the same thing. They put a lot of effort into their music, and that's a big part of the overall package. And it's like it's really cool. Like I play a lot of games with like a podcast on, and I
Sure.
still do that one with this one because as we get more ingrained with technology, I'm more of a smooth brain who needs multiple inputs at all times. But I love it. I love the music. The sound effects are cool. Although my favorite thing to do is transitions us to the active turn-based combat, a la like
Yes.
Paper Mario. You put an impotent when you do the moon ring and it bounces off an enemy and bounces back. Like I love to be like, hey, babe, it's your favorite thing because it's so obnoxious as it's bouncing around the screen and it's making the noise and it's yeah, it's
So
great.
there's some accessibility features that I'll bring up right now. Do you use any of those? Do you switch any of them on?
No, not. I think there's a little badge thing, so like it shows me when I did the input correctly for
Yep.
like yeah, that thing I think that's cool.
That's the only one that I keep on as well, and
Yeah, the
it's
other ones have
purely
like
because
trade-offs, don't they?
they do, yeah. So I mean, they can make the game a little easier, but they might like kind of they might nerf another boon or something like that. So it's interesting stuff. But that one in particular, like I definitely it did maybe help me find my kid because the whole point of it is it shows you when you hit the perfect response. So
Hmm.
it's very like Paper Mario. When you're in that combat, like it's a timing thing, it becomes a time based like almost rhythm feature of the game, right? So like this, what it does is like this star sprite that like a shooting star like shoots up whenever you hit it correctly, and it like triggers the fact that like you've hit that rhythm correctly. And I keep it on. I don't even know how much it actually helped me learn the timing. I just think it looks pretty.
Yeah, looks pretty, and also like sometimes you're like, where am I? Why am I just getting owned? And you're like, it does help me find the timing. It also, just like Paper Mario, when you're getting attacked, you got to time it pretty well, and that gets pretty tricky because I'm a little bit of a spaz on that one. I'm always like, and then
That also
freak out on
speaks to
that.
like the nice variety of the one, your attacks, and two,
Yeah,
the enemies in the game, because that happens to me too, man. Like I can get in a pretty good flow on certain baddies. Like I know what their attacks like the bubble drop, like when you
dude,
know
I
that
hate the
attack.
bubble drop.
Yeah, but see, like I know when that one's gonna hurt me, so like I
I
can
still
time it
mess it up
correctly.
all the time.
But everybody's got a different one. There's different attacks that I still have no idea what the timing is. So
Right. I would say another really cool thing is that so the combat overall, it helps it keep it fresh better than a lot of games. I would say that the boss battles too are really, really cool. Like I'm super
mhm.
into the thematic boss battles and the different things you gotta do. I haven't died too many times. Like it's not too hard, but you can mess up and slip up and you gotta like switch between your party. Probably should have mentioned that, it's a typical party system game, but it's pretty easy to get the hang of and it's pretty cool. You do different
Right.
combos with one another, so I like it a lot.
Yeah, and we were just speaking to the rhythm Paper Mario aspect to the turn-based combat, but another big part of this game, and I'm pretty sure it's like a Chrono Trigger nod to that or whatever, but there's basically you get the baddies and then it'll show you a series of different attacks that will essentially make it so that they'll lose a turn or like
Yeah. Delay their special attack pretty much.
right. So
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's a little puzzle you got to figure out.
yep. So you hit the right sequences. You got to like it just forces you to be a little bit more strategic about how you're going about the battle. It's good, man. Like I think it's really fun. Like it really, every time you go in, it's not. Whereas you brought up like, I mean, granted, this is a long time ago, but like the original Pokemon Game Boy games, like you can just go in there and essentially, if you have an attack that's strong enough and a Pokemon that's strong enough, the grind is basically just attack, 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 attack. Whereas a game like this, it forces you to think about, okay, like should I use some sort of shield here? Should I be giving one of my other parties, my party members some food, or like should I be like bumping up someone's like mana or whatever? It's just cool, man. Like every time that I go into a battle, like it's like a little puzzle, and I like that as opposed to just like the grind of like, all right, just gotta tear this one down. Like it makes it fun.
Yeah, and they also pace the battles pretty well. It's not like in the modern era, like the grindy stuff gets just routinely destroyed critically.
Right.
So I would say they did a pretty good job of There's a nice balance of battles. It's not too much. I like the way that you explore the environment. It's not like the diorama style quite that you see being really popular right now, but it's pretty close where like you're walking over tightrope bridges and you're scaling
Mhm.
mountains and stuff. And it's just the way it just looks super cute, the way that you're going through it. And some of the inputs are kind of satisfying, like your little grappling hook, your little
Yeah.
gust push. And
Yeah,
then
it
the cooking
encourages you
dude.
to interact with the environment too, because you have to
Yeah.
like you're not just like moving, you're not just walking through it. Like you have to jump up to the ledge or shoot
Yeah.
the grappling hook. So I think that is cool.
And the cooking, how cute is the art for the cooking, dude? How you hold on to
Yeah.
it and it slowly progresses and kind of shows you the process of doing the cooking. I just thought that was like aesthetically intensely pleasing and very cute.
It is cool.
So they it's filled,
The more complex the recipe, like the longer it will take too. It's just kind of fun little
yeah.
things like that.
It's intensely pleasing and wholesome. I can't really explain other than that, just to see the little like clay brick oven thing that they're like cooking in and the little like it getting prepared. And it's the art they chose to use there is really, really cute.
Yeah, and then this is like speaks to the layers of the game too, because you start to learn more recipes, like you find recipes out in the wild, that kind of thing. Like it's on surface level, it seems like it's maybe not the deepest thing, but then like when you start to peel back the layers, you're like, shit, there's a lot going on with this game.
Which was our great introduction to Wheels, a spectacular turn-based minigame within the game.
Dude, I'm still not entirely sure how to play wheels, but I love it.
I don't know it all, but I like it too. And you, when you're into a new area, you have to like challenge the person at the table to get like a new person. So this is all pretty standard. It's no blitzball, which I guess people all think of differently, but it was great and the
We're
best thing
blitzball
ever.
fanatics over here. I
Yeah,
love five.
we're pro. This is a pro blitzball pod. But Wheels, I think, better than Gwent. I think we can
Keep
say
that
that.
nah, dude. That's ridiculous. Gwent is king.
Gwent is trash. Let's just move on from there. Yeah, and then I don't know how I haven't just erupted thus far, but Gar is the best, cutest character of all time. So
Girl, yeah.
I think it's just Gar, isn't it, or is it Garl?
Got an L at the end of his name, I'm pretty sure.
Garl is just a king, and I love him.
He's great, dude. He's so
Warrior
wholesome.
cook,
Yep.
pirate chef.
He's
Yeah,
incredibly wholesome. And like
yeah.
I think we mentioned at the head, we're not going to get too into the story. So I don't think we have to do much of that. But like, I do think that girl makes this story.
Yeah, and he's not one of the chosen one. He's just your best friend who waits for you. And everyone tells him he can't, but he's just too eager and optimistic to be held down. And you know what? We all need a little bit more Garl in our lives.
So how many playable characters have you unlocked? I've gotten up to 4. I think there's
I've gotten
6 in
4.
total.
Yeah, I know there's more, but it's just, mysterious pirate lady who's not the pirate lady.
I know
They drag
that's
that
like
one
a
on for a
spoiler
while.
that is not a spoiler because it's
Yeah,
so obvious in the game, and
yeah.
that becomes like a fun joke in the game too. Like when she
When she
does
finally
like,
reveals.
dude, it's so great. She tells him, and then like Valerie and Zale, who are the two Solstice warriors, I don't remember which one of them, but they're like, yeah, we know. It's
Yeah.
like we know for a long time. But the point
They're
is
just
like
like,
you're a good guy
duh.
and you're hanging with us, so like that's all
Right.
we care about.
It's all love dogs. So
But that is, I think that like from my understanding, because like I'm right around the part I just finished the Vesperian part, so like the pirate ship business.
that was
I'm
fun.
just yeah, that was a cool little section. So I'm just beyond that now. And as far as like you're starting to like learn that, and that's another thing that I think a testament to the story of this game that we're not going to talk about is it has layers in itself. Once you have an idea of what's happening, like they start to introduce new elements that are like, oh, okay, interesting, and it keeps
Yeah.
on moving. It's pretty cool.
It's like a trope based in a good way. So like it's a little obvious. It's like definitely once again, it's not trying to be like blow your mind with craziness, but it's just like it's very much a love letter to games of the
Totally,
past.
totally.
Um, anything you don't particularly care for?
Mm, nah, man, it's a full send for me. I think like but that said without finishing the game. Like I mentioned, I know I'm well aware of this backtracking pain point that folks have. I don't think I've hit that quite yet, or maybe it's just because like I didn't mind going backwards to a couple of things because I took a long break.
There was
But
one section I thought was egregious, but at the end of the day, it was fine.
yeah, I think it's yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's one of those things, man. I think like this is a recurring theme on our pod, but We just have so many games today that it can be annoying to us when a game commands more of our time when we're like, I just want to move on. Whereas like if you are, I think this game like totally presents itself as like getting sucked into this world, and I don't think it's rushed. I don't think it's drawn out too far yet. But that said, I'm according to this guide I was looking at, I'm about halfway through. So
Yeah, right.
maybe I'll have a different take in our in in the inside question next month.
Yeah, I don't want to say it dragged on, but like I just got distracted and it's hard. Like whenever I boot it up, I'm always happy that I do, but I always like get drawn into more addictive games and I'm just too scattershot to really fully invest. And then I should have, when it was going hot, I should have just leaned into it and then I would have been done by now. So I have a
Sure.
little bit of guilt there, but I truly enjoyed it all. I have it on Game Pass. So like obviously if you have Game Pass and you have the time for it, full send. If it goes on sale, like I actually like have some people I know that I'm like, just play this game, buy it, do it. $10
Sure.
or less, like you need to do it. And for me, I'm actually contemplating getting rid of Game Pass. So like I kind of want to beat this
Mm-hmm.
before I do that. So
Right on. Yeah, I would like to just because I'm so like fired up in it where I don't want to like start over right yet. I also want to beat it on Game Pass. But that said, I'm 100% going to get the physical copy for Switch. So I would like this game to be in my collection.
just so you can sell it for $250.
Dude, you got to listen to my my podcast on collecting again.
I did.
I'm sure
Oh,
I'm
you met
sure you
again.
did. You had early access too.
I did.
Like here's the deal. Like I love it and I love like seeing the value of certain things, but at the same time, like I'm never gonna sell any of this shit, dude.
Yeah.
Ooh, what do you think then, bro? Should we take a little break and hear from our on section sponsor?
Yes, sir.
As you know, I'm a new dad. You're a dad. And you know who's our on-section sponsor of the month?
Who would that be?
Sponsoring all these new dads out here? Pacifiers, bro. Nooks,
Nooks, passies.
passies, whatever you want to call them.
Except for you rave children. That's weird.
Hey, man, if they're soothing your mood, if they're making you happy at the rave, I'm all for it. I'm 100% full send. Put that pacifier in your mouth.
I would also like to shout out Miss Rachel. The only reason I was allowed to poop and do things when I'm watching the boys. She's a YouTube star, if you're not aware. And she's an icon. So also pacifiers and Miss Rachel for allowing parents to poop. That'll help you later down the road. Your baby don't care about Miss Rachel yet, but he will.
This is a heavy daddy gamer sponsorship. I'll tell you what.
Heavy dads, dude.
Dude, I don't know what it is though, man. Like there's this discourse out there that like don't use pacifiers. That's like a thing. I don't even know where I picked that up.
There's
But
some
it's real.
there's some dental ramifications if they have them too long. And you also gotta get rid of them eventually. So if you don't want to do that, find a different way to pacify your child. But if you're like the rest of us, just sweet, sweet pacifiers.
Dude, if Elton didn't have a pacifier, he'd just be sucking on his hands anyways.
This is also true.
So I'm like, whatever, bro. Get those hands out of your mouth.
As a teacher, I do
this
run in,
passy.
as a teacher, I do run into kids who still suck on their thumbs occasionally. I'm like, hey, stop that. It's
We're
bad
talking
bad
full
for your
on
teeth.
full on fist for my boy, man. He was probably
He's got big old hands too.
long fingies.
Very
He's starting to fill
long.
out though, man. 3 pounds since birth. Wow.
Oh shoot.
97 percentile for height.
Shouts out to Booby Milk as well.
Dude, Booby Milk be doing it for him. Our little milk monster.
Well, all right, dude. This unsanctioned sponsors is parents surviving and babies being chill.
Yes.
If that's a pacifier, if that's Miss Rachel,
or if you're a rave kid or a rave adult that just wants to do the pacifier thing, hey, if it stops you from grinding your teeth, taking all that Molly, go for it.
It's not my life, but you know what? Go for it.
That's right. Live your life. Live your life, people. That's what it's about.
Yeah, be safe, but also sure.
Yeah, you push some boundaries if you want a little bit. Whatever. Have some fun.
What are you gonna do? Back to regularly scheduled program. All right. Time for some side quests in. So the first question is, can Alex even play games? How does one even side quest? What have you been up to?
Dog. I've been starting to play more games now. But no, when the little boy was first born, I was like, well, I was also working a lot. Unfortunately, I just had to manage both those things slash fortunately at the same time. Double-edged sword.
Yeah, no doubt
but
on that.
but yeah, dude. So I was like full in on Starfield, full in on Sea of Stars there for a bit. I have not picked up Starfield since my boy was born. And it's not even because I'd still enjoy that game. I think it's dope, but it's just such a big, vast, crazy game that like I have anxiety about jumping back in.
It
Which is stupid. Like
it
but
takes a long time to get comfortable. And
yeah.
the criticisms of the game, like at first when you start playing, I know you were super gung ho, and then I feel like the criticisms, like you were like, "Fuck those people are unreasonable," and then they slowly caught up with you. Uh,
Eh,
I struggled for like the first 5 hours to understand and be fluid in the world. I think that's the best way to put it. Is like it's intensely not fluid, and that kind of drives me nuts. The loading screen thing is real, and like on a nice system, it's not like the longest wait. It's just very
right.
clunky and you don't feel free and you feel like there's so much that you don't even know where to go. So if you can find purpose, it's a really fun game. I accidentally got caught smuggling contraband into, and I didn't even know I had contraband on my ship. Like I literally
Yeah.
thought I was being framed. But then that got me caught up in this whole like faction quest between the what was it, the Crimson Fleet
Yep.
and like the Space Marines, whatever their narc asses are called. And I do that mission's been really cool, digging up dirt on one and being kind of a double agent. I've actually really liked that, but it leads into another super annoying thing in the game, which is that I want to smuggle while I have access to the Crimson Fleet. I want to be a smuggler, make some money. But when you go to upgrade your ship, you can't buy parts unless you have a certain like they're locked behind abilities that are like super deep into the ability tree. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you need me to play for how many hours before I can unlock the ability to more accurately store my cargo? Like I have the money, so the game's just like riddled with design choices where I'm like, this is not cool.
It bugs me because I'll be stealing ships, and then you like the same thing. They consider your ship contraband if you go into a star system that
Sure.
that scans you. But you can go and pay to get the ship registered if you like know if you like navigate somewhere that's not being handled by whatever those fuckers are called, the FCC or whatever,
Yeah,
just
if you
out in
go to their
space.
like cyberpunk city, what's that one called? Neon or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know if Neon might actually scan you too, man. But
Yeah.
but it costs hella money. So like the whole idea is like I wanted to steal cool ships, maybe keep some, maybe sell some, but you can only sell them after you pay the fee to like register the ship. It's not worth it. But so even though we're talking about it, not really a side quest of mine because I think the like idea that if I pick this thing up, like I would want to spend a chunk of time to get immersed into that world again, and I just haven't had it in me. I need to play games that, or I've just chosen the little game that I have. I've chosen games that aren't quite as immersive as Starfield. So I have picked up not nearly the amount of hours as you, bro, but I did get to playing some Slay,
I'm
which is
glad you're
cool.
finally indoctrinated.
It's been cool, man. It's for a turn-based game and for a very like passive, like that. It's fun, dude. It's that one is cool. Like I said, I've got about 300 hours before I can really talk to you about it. But
I'm not there yet. I might be like in the neighborhood, but I'm not there yet.
you're well on your way, man.
Shut up. 250 isn't that big of a deal. It's like neighborhood of Civ. It's getting
I dig
Civ
it.
like at this
I
point in
dig it.
time.
My major gaming side quest though is a game called PlateUp. It's a really cool roguelike cooking game, kind of like Overcooked, I would say, is probably its strongest partner in game likeness. But that
Nice.
was that was hooked up by the homie Isaiah, and good up, thanks Isaiah. That game actually pulled me back into gaming. I hadn't played at all. I just like didn't have it in me with everything going on, and then I started on the Steam Deck. I had just like little spurts at night where it's like the baby was down and I wasn't quite ready to go to bed. So I would pick that up and I would do these cooking runs, man. And PlateUp is dope. So everybody keep your eye on it because it is coming to console. They had it planned for late last month. But they, is development shit. So they pushed that back. It is available on Steam. Like Overcooked, it is you can play up with four people. So like basically what you do is you own a restaurant and you're trying to make that restaurant work, and you've got these these runs that you go on, and you take care of your customers. You cook whatever the item is that you're working on at that point in time. You just build up and like keep upgrading your restaurant over the amount of these days. But if you miss a table or if you get a disgruntled table, it kills your run. And so it's
Hmm.
these super addicting runs, dude. And it's like it's pretty cool. It's like, have you ever tried it's got like kind of a cool animation. It's like kind of that rounded, like, like the life pegs from the game of life. Kind of looks like a chunky version of that. Like it's or like, I don't know if you ever played Human Fall Flat. Like there's similarities, but it's more of a
Hmm.
top down deal. It's fun though, dude. And like I said, it's a roguelike. And these runs are ridiculous. You get yourself making these pizzas, and then it layers it, right. So it's like pretty simple at first. Like, you make cheese pizzas, then it'll introduce more recipes to you, so you start like having to do more prep work and stuff. It's hard, man. Like, it's, I can get about 5, 6, 7 days in with the food items, the steaks, the pizzas, some of the other stuff that I'm able to cook now.
Sounds intensely stressful.
Dude, but it is so funny because I do work part-time in the service industry. It's like so funny that I took a break from
Industry,
that.
continue. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in the industry, dog.
But and Isaiah's definitely, he's a cook, dude. So it's so funny that I got this cook being like, dude, play this game that
Play the
basically
most
just like
stressful thing
mimics
ever.
the ridiculousness of the service industry. But it's a great game, man. I'm looking forward to it coming to console. I tweeted at them, and they assured me that it is coming. They just need a little bit
Oh,
more time. And it will likely drop on Game Pass, they were saying too. So that's cool too, man. If you don't drop Game Pass, we'll get some runs going. Shit, I don't know. I might even make a game of the month. So maybe I'll just gift it to you because Isaiah gifted it to me.
there we go. What's the general price she goes for?
$20 full price, but I've seen some nice like 50% off sales already. So
That'd be reasonable.
dude, it's worth it. $20, bro. It's full send on this game. Like, it's great. I'm super excited to see where it goes. And I haven't done any of the multiplayer yet. Like, I've just been super like having fun with it by myself.
Of Slay the Spire, had you unlocked all four characters yet?
Oh, there's only 4 characters? I have.
Yeah, I mean on the PC it's like a whole different world with different updates, but also like a lot of mods. But you have the four
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah, the last one is to do with the orbs, right?
Nope. So you have the three characters. The
I guess I
last
have
one
the
is the
three.
lady. She's the watch. She's the watcher. Well,
Okay.
do you have a favorite of the three?
Yeah, I like the orb, dude.
Orb dude's cool. The defect.
Yep.
He's a little bit more not niche, but you got to do some specific stuff with him. But
Yeah, I like his move set. Like, I don't know, it's the orb stuff's cool.
I figured you would have been the swordy guy, Ironclad. I would have pegged you for him. He's definitely the easiest to acclimate to, in my opinion. So I'm a little surprised, but look at you.
Just moving and evolving, dude.
Have you beat Act 3 yet?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. It's hard. It actually takes a while. And then there's just a whole nother layer opened
In
up
fact,
after
I
that.
know I have not. I've only gotten to Act Two.
Yeah. Well, my first game is Starfield. So if you want to talk more about Starfield, you're certainly welcome to. But
Ooh, let me see real quick. I also picked up Mario Strikers. That game's
oh,
harder than I
sick.
thought it would be, dude.
Yeah, it seemed mostly online focused. So that's the reason I never picked it up. It looked really cool, but it seemed like it was made to be played almost entirely online. Is that the fact?
I don't know. I think it's like you can definitely play against the computers. I can see where online make would probably be the most fun for folks. So,
I mean, does it have like
um,
a story mode or like different challenges? Is it like Mario Golf where it's good but a massive disappointment?
no, it's more gameplay focused than story. I think. Like, I haven't spent too much time on it. It has a grueling tutorial, dude.
Yeah,
It's like so like I like didn't even finish the tutorial because it's so long. And then I was like, I'm just gonna play some like exhibition games, and then I got my ass whooped. I'm like, oh, maybe I should finish the tutorial.
that's
But I want
fair.
to bring that one up because that one is like a cool game that I've had my eye on for a while, and then the physical went on sale a pretty deep discount. So I was like, okay, it's time.
What did it go to?
Um, Dude, it was like half off, which is pretty cool for
It's crazy for
physical,
Nintendo.
right?
It's
No,
30 bucks
totally.
then.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's pretty close to worth it.
Or yeah, 30, dude. And then outside the gaming world, though, I've been watching a lot of shows because it's easy to watch shows with the baby when he's nap trapped you.
Yep.
In addition to that, I've started indoctrinating him into Star Wars. So we've watched episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 together, which means I've watched them and he's just kind of assimilated. And the wifey has started picked up the cues on that one. She started him on the Harry Potter series, and I think he's gone through like
Ah,
Maybe 1 through 3 of those already, dude. He's getting it in.
I dropped off hard. Like as kids, we were both really, even though you weren't really a kid, you were more in the high school range, like really hardcore Harry Potter fan. And then over time, I've just deeply fallen off, and like it's only grown to like Disney adult status, but for friggin' Harry Potter
Yeah.
land.
I mean,
And
you say I was in high school, but when that book first dropped, dude, I was definitely in grade school.
yeah, or
That's-
like early middle school, but like even though it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
like a burn, because those books like become more mature as you mature. So like
I think the
it's not,
last book dropped when I was in college. So yeah,
yeah,
it was a big chunk of my life.
you're right. But so for me, I was thinking about it, and I really have not cared. J.K. Rowling,
Yeah,
her
poop on
personal
her.
antics aside, I simply just kind of fell off when they started making the movies. I just,
Mm.
if you make too many movies, I just drop out entirely. The Marvel universe is another example of that. But so then yeah, like I was really into it, but then I was talking to a buddy about like Tyler, friend of the pod. He's talking about how he's gonna want to model reading because he never liked reading that much, but he wants his daughter to be really into it. Talk more
Nice.
dad stuff. We've just gone full dad pod.
I read to my son last night.
Yeah, there we go.
Had
Me as
him
well.
nestled in there, and
But
he
I was just
definitely doesn't know what's
thinking,
going on, but he was chill
like
about it.
the world building of Harry Potter and like Star Wars, they're like very simple stories, but just the world building is really fun for little
Hmm.
kids. So I'll definitely drop my too cool for school attitude when the boys get a little older and let them enjoy the throes of Harry Potter and Star Wars.
I like it,
Well,
dude.
word.
The other one is
Um,
series though. I finished the morning show. Phenomenal. I think it was like it's on Apple TV. It's great. The season 3 is the best season of all 3 of them, dude. It's a lot of fun. Basically, I won't go into that one, but that was a great series in my opinion. And Loki, bro, I finished up Loki. I know you just said you're off the Mario or the Mario, you're off the Marvel tip, but Loki, dude, is dope.
I'm like 5 to 6 years behind on Marvel, so at this point, I think I'm good.
Yeah, no, for sure. This one is interesting. I'm not gonna do any. I'm gonna avoid any major spoilers here and just say that it is aside enough from it's not it's adjacent obviously because it's in the universe, but it's aside from all the other stories that have been going on within Marvel, and it kicks off something new.
Well, it's
So
always
it's
something new.
so it could be this could be a major, and it's apparently being based off of a similar run that recently has been quite loved in the comic books around the same deal. But it essentially kicks off in multiverse shit
So many multiverses.
too.
All right.
There's endless content. There's just genius of these fucking companies.
Yeah, I think they also like spread themselves thin.
Oh
So,
yeah, dude, it's not working. I mean, to your point with the Marvel stuff, like I think overall, it's not as sustainable to do it for movies.
but they got a few hits. But
Mhm.
all right, man. When we were playing Sea of Stars, I mentioned it was getting in the way of me getting into Starfield, and then I finally got into Starfield, and then I got in the way of my Sea of Stars. I already kind of railed on it slash talked about how I did really appreciate it because it is super cool. It's just also super
You finish
clunky
it?
and not smooth. Starfield, no.
Okay.
And I feel like I'll try it again, like maybe next year or like when I have a lull of games and it's like on sale on something, I'll buy it actually. And then just like maybe because I think like it's a game that I can see them like adding quality of life stuff to it over the years and like
Yeah.
DLC things and like really fixing some of the things that make it kind of boring. But it's so vast. It just makes me think of like they were so ambitious that it kind of got in their way. And it really makes you appreciate like people make fun of like Bethesda for re-releasing Skyrim for so many years. And I'm like, that game was so good.
Yeah.
And like the replayability is insane. And like how you go into these dungeons and they're not always super unique, but they're like they give you some pretty unique vibes a lot, even if there's a lot of reused assets. And then like Starfield kind of got in trouble for reusing stuff and making things just feel kind of blah and empty, but also it does give you a sense of wonder, so it is really cool and there is possible levels of things to do and the gunplay can be gratifying, so like I do think I'll try to go back, but
Yeah, I didn't
what
mind the
really got in
gunplay,
the
but I'm also not a big first person shooter fan typically. So it's like I don't have, it's not like I'm
I
like,
like enough the dialogue stuff I think can be good.
yeah.
Baldur's Gate isn't really on a system I can play just yet. and it's nowhere in that category. But like, I kind of like when you can talk yourself out of situations and do different things like that. It does an okay job of different things like that. So I like it. It's good. But like when someone says it's like a 7 out of 10, that feels pretty fair.
Mm.
But then Madden, you know,
You've been fired up Madden again, bro? The new
oh
one,
God,
or
oh God, yeah,
you get the
it
new
like
one?
yeah. So I refuse to pay full price for Madden. But there was like a pre Amazon just had like that 2 day sale in the middle of October. It was like a
Sure.
pre Amazon Day sale or whatever. So it was like it's the only physical copies I own on the Xbox are Madden.
The
And it's
only
so
games that
stupid
aren't gonna be
because,
worth shit.
yeah, dude, digitally they don't go on sale or they didn't, but I could get physical copy for like half off. So I was like, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's what I did with 2K. And dude, I can't even hate on you because come Black Friday, Thanksgiving time, I'll probably scoop the new 2K
Yeah,
because
and it's cool, right? It's like it's fun. They did not make any great improvements really to the modes that I play or anything really. So it's once again infuriating, but also like I know what I want, and it's okay that I spend $40 to get access to my crack cocaine, sweet sweet heroin, whatever you want to call it. Because Madden is forever cool to take a team and build a team over time and get your players better. That gameplay loop I'm just super addicted to. Fun times though
Who are you playing as,
is
man? The T Swifts?
oh, dude, I wish. That should be our unsanctioned sponsor. Love chilling with
Love.
Taylor Swift and Travis
You
Kelsey.
want to put this in a time capsule, dude? Travis Kelsey down in Argentina changing lyrics for him, man. Oh, heart
Dude,
melting.
I'm just happy for him, dude. And the internet discourse that's dissing them, just enjoy life a little bit, man.
Dude, get out of
Um,
here. The
we're
sports people that are
bringing
like, fuck this guy. It's
we're
like
bringing
whatever, man.
husbands and wives,
I'm sure he's
boyfriends and
working out down there.
girlfriends,
Getting
Swifties and
his
their
cardio for
parents.
sure.
We're uniting so many people in the world with their love that I'm here for it. No, dude. So
They're cute, dude. I can't even lie.
yeah, no, dude. Travis is so hot. Anyway,
His brother was in the running for People Magazine's hottest person of the year.
I can see that as like Jason Kelsey's got some daddy vibes for
He did got the
sure.
daddy vibes. He responded to it though. He was like, "What the hell? That's crazy. Like I'm not even the hottest guy in my family."
Right. But anyway, I decided I was tired of playing as the Vikings all the time. I've done that the last few years in a row where I just make them good over time. So I took a team, and I talked with some buddies and I was like, what team is the most replaceable team in the league? So I had to think about so I took the Houston Texans because their logo
The
sucks.
Raiders right now, but
Yeah, but being in Vegas, that's cool.
that
And
is
like
cool.
they're classic jerseys. So like you don't
Mhm.
want your league to not have the Raiders, but like I've never looked at the Texans logo and been like, this is cool. And then, everybody knows it's all Dallas and Texas. The Texans are second class
Yeah.
citizens in their own
Oh.
state. So I moved them to drumroll, Anchorage, Alaska. I'm sure the players were
Oh.
pumped, dude. And
Big fan base.
the reason I chose so in this version of Madden, you can't create teams. You choose from a bunch of presets.
Okay.
And one of them's the lumberjacks, and there's a plaid design on the back of the helmet. And I was
Get
like,
out of here.
let's go, dude. So I was gonna move to like I think literally Argentina or Hawaii. And
Hmm.
then none of the logos really matched up. They looked like high school team logos. And then
Are they
I
going to let
saw,
you bring a team out of the United States? That's
yeah, there's
kind
a
of
bunch of
cool.
options like that. Like you can be in like Tokyo,
Oh,
you can
that'd
be
be
in like
dope.
Germany. So I chose Anchorage because it fit with the logo the best.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're the Anchorage Lumberjacks, and it's pretty dope, dude. Love it.
That's
That's
great.
why I play as is
You
now.
packed that stadium or what?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Fans are rabid. They got nothing
dude.
better to do.
Do the new Madden still allow you to change the pricing of the concessions and all that kind of shit to make money?
Yeah, it's a really bad feature that they should spend more
why
time with.
why did
But
they put a business simulator into that game to begin with?
and if they do, they should make it better. Because like I'm not gonna get into the nitty gritty. No one's here to hear about how the salary cap and bonus structure can eventually bone you over in the but that's yeah. Game's
Dog,
flawed. They
dude,
really need to let me make a game.
as long as we're sprinkling in a whole bunch of things to date this podcast, Wemby Mania, dude, fucking A. I haven't been a Spurs fan forever
Just
since the
lost to the
90s.
Timberwolves. Who
Dude, I
cares? We're
know he's
hot
had a
right
couple.
now.
Dude, he had
Get on the
like his first.
bandwagon.
Dude, he had his first 5 games. He was on fire. He's had a couple rough ones and one against the Timberwolves, and we won our last 5 at home. Fucking, I love
Listen,
it.
I need you to also Google Chet Holmgren because he's only a little bit shorter and he's a Minnesota white boy and he's also a
Oh,
gangly, strange, odd looking player who can
how
do
old
a
is
bunch
he?
of swagger stuff. Like 19,
Dude,
he's
I can't believe it. These 19-year-old boys. I'm so old now that I'm like, holy shit, they're so little.
yeah. Dude, sometimes I'm playing fantasy football. I'm like, this dude's washed. Like, he's been in the league for way too long. Like, he's gonna fall off any day now. And then I look at his age. I'm like, he is younger than me. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Dude,
But then,
I bring up Wemby though because it is pure 1990, like maybe 2000, 99, 2000. What was the first PC NBA Live game I had? But he is like the spitting image of maybe a
just when you're
little. He's
playing
thinner.
around with stuff, yeah,
He's probably thinner, dude. I used to make him beefier and stronger, but he's got a
yeah,
couple of years.
he'll
But that
get
was
there,
my
man.
deal with
He's
the
a
creative
child.
player, man. That
Yeah,
creative player, and that's what Wemby is, dude. It's like someone created a player and dropped him in the NBA. It's
it's pretty
ridiculous.
funny that his reach, metaphorically, not his physical reach, which is pterodactyl esque, but like his reach to get like you're not like a basketball casual, but you're pretty strong casual. Like you're not super into
Yeah,
it. So like the fact that like you're all excited about it and like
that was
people
great.
who don't follow the league are pretty like I'm sure he's huge on social media just because he's so wild to watch. So I think that's pretty cool slash interesting to see. But
He's
anyway,
getting a
my
lot of
last
coverage.
game, which if you would have bought it, we should have made it the pod, but you can wait on it for a little bit. Mario Wonder, fun game, dude. It's the mushroom trip of a game, dude. Have you watched any gameplay or listened to anything about it?
No, I'm pretty fresh on it, dude. I know people are loving it. And I know it's the fastest selling 2D Mario game of all time, according to Nintendo.
Yeah, it's the post Nintendo Mario movie glow up for sure. They made this one
Mm-hmm.
like in secret, which is classic Nintendo, just not even letting you know they're cooking up straight fire. And they just kind of dropped it within the same year they announced it. And it's the rebirth of another rebirth of their 2D format. It makes me think about the next Mario Maker a lot and how you can choose the wonder, and that'll be fun.
Oh, right
But
on.
basically in the middle of every level you have like this wonder thing that pops off like some trippy stuff. So it's like, the mushrooms equivalent of Mario, but it's
Nice.
like a fun flavor. So like it's been really fun, dude. It's been a nice palate cleanser. Like I have my Switch next to it's on my bedstand, so like I'll play for like 10 minutes to a half an hour before bed, and then on the weekends I've been waking up before the boys wake up, I'd be popping it on. So strong recommend, dude. Beautiful game, tons of fun. If my boys were a little bit older, I'd be another Tyler mentioned, but his daughter loves to watch him play. She's not quite old enough to pick up the sticks, but she's like, play another level, and she's super
Fun.
into it. So it's Nintendo done did it again, which brings me to my last talking point, my both excitement and scathing disappointment at the live action Zelda movie. Why is it live action?
Ah, yes. I don't
I'm
know,
gonna
man.
watch it. I'm gonna be hyped for it. But why if Tom Hiddleston is in this movie, I quit.
Okay. So do you think
Not
it's
Tom
live
Hiddleston. What's his
action?
name? What's the little
Tom
Peter
Hiddleston's
Parker?
cool, but you're talking about
Tom Holland. If Tom Holland
Holland.
is
Yeah.
Link, I quit.
Dude, I don't know why the internet's been so thirsty for that to happen. I mean, I kind of see it, but
I mean, he's boyish, so I'll give him that. But
yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling. Well, I was gonna say that they'll probably. I was like, I think I just hope that they go like totally off script and like just go like small names and like give it the like original Star Wars treatment where it's like who the fuck are these people, and then they blow up and be awesome.
you mean they're gonna
But
get Chris Pratt to be
well, that's
Link?
what I was gonna say. The fact that they have like Chris Pratt and everybody else in the Mario movie, they'll probably go big names again. I don't know, man. I Do you think it's live action in the sense that it's like real people, or will it be live action in the sense like Disney be calling like Lion King live action, which is
I didn't see any of those.
well, they're fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with the original, so it's like, why? Well, I know why. It's gonna make that money, but
And
like,
you also keep the IP for like copyright stuff when
sure,
you
sure,
redo
sure.
the movies. So that's a huge
But
motivator.
like, so the I'll just use the Lion King example though. Is like it's live action because it looks real, but it's still all computer animated, like lions and shit. So I mean, that could be what they do, I guess. Like put it in a real setting, but then have animated characters. I doubt it though, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just like, dude, like the way they did the Mario movie, like there's no reason they couldn't just pick like a more realistic art style for like the
Dude,
Zelda
they should have gone straight like
anime.
like anime cast like the even if it was like the American anime shit like that Castlevania shit we got going on, which I started the most recent one and it's been dope, but I watched it all while I was in the hospital.
Yeah, or like the Witcher.
Yep,
They
that too.
announced their like kind of American anime, and that's gonna be really cool. Except for now Netflix is on their bullshit and they're trying to get me to pay for it separately, and that's stupid.
What?
Yeah, it's like the household thing now where they finally cracked down on that, or it's made it to us where we have
Oh,
We were
you've
doing
been leeching Netflix for a long time or something?
it's been linked into the phone bill, so I felt like I
Oh.
had access and right to it. But now
Sure.
it's like this is not the household, and I'm like, get out of here, dude. Like, what
That's
is this?
hilarious.
So I'm actually really butthurt, and I think it's really stupid. And we should protest Netflix. Even now that they finally did that, they have some things I want to watch, and I find that frustrating.
Super Mario RPG on the horizon too, man. I think that drops like in 2 days of recording, something like that.
Yeah, that one really into it, but I wonder how long I'll wait because it's full price, isn't it? So like
Dude, that's like there's a bunch of good Nintendo games
it's a
coming out right
classic
now.
I've always wanted to
Wonder
play. Yeah.
RPG. I'm very interested by that Peach game they got around the corner.
That's
Uh,
next year though.
but it's like it's one of those deals where I know that it's Nintendo, so they'll have physical versions of those games for a while, for a long time. So I'm not chopping at the bit to get them right out the door, but I do want them all.
I feel that though. Definitely need them all. But also, fuck you, Netflix. And also, anime is cool. Why don't we just do animation style? I don't want to see super awkward, like real acting. Like, I just can't see the Zelda movie not being awkward now or just kind of like corny.
Dude, it'll be hella
Um,
corny. You ever seen
mm,
clips of the cartoon that's out? Like came out long ass time ago, the Zelda shit.
yes.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's so funny. I hope it's just as cringy as that. That's what I want out of this now.
Like at some point, like it just better be. I don't know why you wouldn't. The Mario movie, like, I also see like sites like Kotaku keep bringing up how like the story was underwhelming, and I'm like, what are we doing here? What did you
In the
want from the
Mario movie,
Mario?
the story was
Yeah,
tight.
I'm like, as an author, I think it like if you wanted to critique it, sure, but like that's all. Just leave it there, dude. It's fine. It was a good time. I enjoyed myself, didn't you? Like, come on.
Yeah. It is beautiful too,
It's a
man.
platforming game. It's not supposed to have an elaborate. Even with Mario Wonder, they're like another pretty flat story. I'm like, dude, Bowser does some stuff. I gotta go through some levels. Like that's the fun I'm here for. Let's not complicate it.
Dude, the idea that people want people just aren't able to like you got to be able to compartmentalize your games, man. Like it's a fucking platformer, be happy about the gameplay, and then
It's what it's
if
made
you got
for.
your like open world story game, like I yes, you're allowed to be a little upset about Starfield's story, but not fucking Mario's. And I don't
And
even mind
so
Starfield's story too
yeah,
much.
it's been fine. I got so subtract or sidetracked by the Crimson Fleet stuff. I like never even unlocked the powers or did the stupid floating temple orb thing people complain about.
That shit is whack, dude. It's like it's whatever. It's just like why did you make this mechanic so tedious?
And also, like, how are you coming up with all these good ideas? And then you're like, dude, we need something. They're like, how about the same floaty orb temple thing a bunch of times? People love
Mm,
it. And it's like,
yeah,
who loves this?
I'm
But I
not
haven't even
sure.
gotten to one yet. So I'll
Oh,
maybe
really?
next. Dude, I got so sidetracked by that Crimson Fleet stuff of being a double agent that like all over the place doing nonsense.
Oh man, you fired up you fired up that PC, man. Oh, I guess you could do. I'm trying to get some. I started some Cyberpunk too in my downtime
I
before
anticipate
the boy
that
was
being
born.
on sale about Black Friday because it never, I've been waiting for it to drop below half off and it just hasn't. And now
Yeah,
with the different stuff, I'm guessing that I'll just wait until the next time it does, then I'll buy it on the box because it's looking awesome, dude.
dude. I think we're gonna have to send that this coming year.
Yeah, it's definitely in the forecast. But all right, I guess, as we wrap it up here, do you even want to tease some potential or do you need some days to marinate on what your next game will be? Because it is your selection, collector boy.
It is.
It's
I've
collector
been
man.
yeah, I've been thinking about having to send the messenger, dude. That game takes 10 to 15 hours to beat, which means probably 20. But that is that so that might be it. Otherwise, I don't know. Super Mario RPG is tempting, but I don't really want to run out and buy that right now. I don't know. Let me think a little bit, but I'll have something on the 15th. I'll drop for everybody
I
alongside
was
this.
playing the messenger and it was kicking my butt absolutely. So I guess I will need that motivation because it gets grindy, dude. It gets hard.
It does. About midway through, it definitely gets a lot more difficult, and the
Yeah.
bosses are tough. It's one of the. I mean, it's that's that type of game, man. It's it can be hard, but it's rewarding when you
Yeah.
beat it. You feel
No, you feel
fucking
great.
dope.
Yeah. No doubt.
Another one down. Thanks everybody for tuning in. checking us out. Check out our old stuff. Be there for our new stuff. You know, holler at us in the Discord. Follow us on social
McRib's
media.
coming back, baby.
Oh, dang. He's so nasty. I cannot believe they brought, dude, I knew it. I always knew they would never fuck up. Why do they always do that? Why is that their deal?
It's really weird. Makes no sense.
Get yourself a McRib. Send us a picture of your McRib when it comes out, everybody.
Yeah. Quit acting like you're better than it.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
The Triforce of Wisdom, Link. The evil wizard Ganon has the Triforce of Power. Whoever gets both Triforces will rule this land forever. You must help me, Link.
Hey, for you, Zelda, anything.
Hero.
Hey, excuse me, princess.